Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Braja Janurandana Yashoda Nandana Braja Janurandana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivra Jagacharya Shtoter Srimad. His Divine Loving Grace Abhaya Charnadavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki. BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivra Jagacharya Stoter Srimad, His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Chaitra Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Jamuna Mai Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki, Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrita Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devyam Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nastapreshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Hare Krishna. It is Friday, September the 27th, 2024, Indira Ekadasi. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 24, chanting the song sung by Lord Shiva, text number 47 and 48. Priti prahasita pangam alakai rupa shobhitam lashat pankaja kinjalka dukulam mishtakundalam. Surat Kirita Valaya Hara Nupura Mekalam Shankha Chakra Gada Padma Mala Mayuttamar Dimat Priti Prahasita Pangam Alakai Rupa Shobhitam Vasat Pankaja Kinjalka Dukulam Mishtakundalam Surat Kirita Valaya Hara Nupura Mekalam Shankha Chakra Gada Padma Mala Manyuttamar Dimat Priti Prahasita Pangam Alakai Rupa Shobhitam Vasat Pankaja Kinjalka Dukulam Mishtakundalam Surat Kirita Valaya Hara Nupura Mekalam Shankha Chakra Gada Padma Mala Manyuttamar Dimat. Okay, so one will read one and someone will read the next. She should go first because she's senior.
Prahasita
Priti prahasita pangam. Alakai rupa shobitam. Lasat pankaja kinjalka. Dukalam mishta kundalam.
Swarat Kirta Valaya
Sarat kirta balaya. Haranupara mekalam.
Sankachakra Gada Padma
Shanka chakra gada padma.
Malamani Utramadharma
Malamanyutama.
Priti Prasita Vangam
Priti prahasita pangam. Alakai rupa shobitam. Lasat pankaja kinjalka. Dukalam mishta kundalam. Sarat kirita malaya. Haranupura mekalam. Shanka chakra gada padma. Malamanyutamardimat. Speaking of the gada, they're gutting the roof.
Come in already.
Using the gada on the roof. Okay, synonyms. Priti, merciful. Prahasita, smiling. Apangam, sidelong glance. Alaikai, with curling hair. Rupa, beauty. Shobitam, increased. Lasat, glittering. Pankaja, of the lotus. Kinjalka, saffron. Dukulam, clothing. Mrishta, glittering. Kundalam, earrings. Sparat, shiny. Kirita, helmet. Valaya, bangles. Hara, necklace. Nupara, ankle bells. Mekalam, belt. Shanka, conch shell. Chakra, wheel. Gada, club. Padma, lotus flower. Mala, garland. Mani, pearls. Uttama, first class. Ridimat, still more beautified on the account of this. Oh, can already tell it's going to be a beautiful description. The Lord is super excellently beautiful on account of his open and merciful smile and his sidelong glance upon his devotees. His black hair is curly and his garments waving in the wind appear like flying saffron pollen from lotus flowers. His glittering earrings, shining helmet, bangles, garland, ankle bells, waist belt, and various other bodily ornaments combine with conch shell, disc, club, and lotus flower to increase the natural beauty of the Kaustuba pearl on his chest. Kaustuba Mani. Please repeat. The Lord is super excellently beautiful.
The Lord is super excellent and beautiful.
On account of his open and merciful smile.
On account of his open and merciful smile.
And his sidelong glance. Upon his devotees. His black hair is curly. And his garments, waving in the wind, appear like flying saffron pollen from lotus flowers. His glittering earrings, shining helmet, bangles, garland, ankle bells, waist belt, and various other bodily ornaments combined with conch shell, disc, club, and lotus flower to increase the natural beauty of the Kaustuba pearl on his chest. Purport. The word prahasita pangam referring to Krishna's smile and sidelong glances at his devotees, specifically applies to his dealings with the gopis. Krishna is always in a joking mood when he increases the feelings of conjugal ras in the hearts of the gopis. The conch shell, club, disc, and lotus flower can be either held in his hands or seen on the palms of his hands. According to palmistry, the signs of a conch shell, club, lotus flower, and disc mark the palms of great personalities and especially indicate the supreme personality of Godhead. Nothing like that. I did see a picture of someone who had there's someone out there like an ISKCON, someone elevated who has like a chakra.
Really? Honestly, I've always been fascinated by these marks.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So we're going to speak a little bit about, kind of be a little about my pay grade here, talking about the gopis and such. But we talk a little bit about Krishna's beauty, Krishna's form, and how do we achieve that. So how many of you want to see Krishna? How many of you are willing to do what it takes to see Krishna? So in that case, we have to be willing to do what it takes. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada said, don't try to see God, try to live in such a way that God will see you. This is such an important and powerful instruction. Don't try to see God, try to live in such a way that God will see you. I'm so sorry. Forgot to say this. Om Jnana Tamarandhyasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurue Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Yudapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagadatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwamana Shruti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarabhishta Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, yeah, I was thinking, uh-oh, Krishna, you're not giving me anything to say. And I was thinking, oh yeah, I didn't ask. So, yeah, we can't just see the Lord on our own. We have to have some qualification. You can't demand to see God. Sometimes you hear people say, I'll believe it when I see it. Or I don't see that God exists. Prove to me that God exists. If God exists, let him come here right now and prove himself to me. This is the puffed up mentality of a materialistically conditioned person. You don't have the quality or the qualification to see God. Why should God reveal himself to you? Why should he take you out of ignorance? Because these materialists are so deeply immersed in ignorance, they don't even realize that not knowing God is kind of a big deal. I'm fine, I don't need to know God. They don't even realize that not understanding Krishna is a serious problem in your life. In this way, they don't understand their suffering. They think I'm enjoying very nicely. And therefore, they take shelter of materialistic activities. They really rely on the five senses. We have these defects, 4 defects. We come under illusion. Living entities come under illusion in this material world. Conditioned living entities come under illusion. They have a tendency to cheat. They have imperfect senses. What's the last one?
Yes.
I said that. They come under illusion. They have a tendency to cheat. They have imperfect senses.
Yes.
I'm just sitting.
Must be more opposite. Imperfect memories.
Good thing I have perfect memory of where it's mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. Oh yeah, we make mistakes. There you go. Yeah, so you have these imperfect senses. And so we have, Krishna says, we have 6 senses, which include the mind. And so your mind is imperfect, your senses are imperfect. So you take shelter of your speculations and your hallucinations and your nonsense, and you call that spiritual. And you're trying to put together some type of spiritual life based on these speculations and hallucinations and this whole trip that we're going on. We're thinking that I'm making spiritual progress. But actually, you're just going in the wrong direction. You're not making any spiritual progress. Spiritual progress comes from surrender. There's no way you can actually see Krishna unless you surrender, unless you have bhakti. Bhakti-mam abhijananti avanyash tasmita pataha tatamam tatvato gyatva svishate tadanantaram. I can only be understood as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by devotional service. And when one is thus purified by such devotional service, he can enter into the kingdom of God. So in this way, you can see Krishna. We have to have bhakti. We have to have this devotional service to see Krishna. And so in one very important statement by Srila Prabhupada, he makes this statement in the introduction to the Nectar of Instruction. He says that the success of a devotee in the practice of Krishna consciousness depends on what? No. Depends on his attitude. So what is your attitude? That is an important qualification if you really want to see Krishna. What is your attitude? What is the attitude of a devotee supposed to be like? Utsahan nishtayan daryat tat kampavartanat. Enthusiastic. Utsahan nishtayan daryat, patient, endeavoring with confidence, accepting what is favorable, rejecting what is unfavorable. Sangyo tagat satovrite. He's rejecting the association of non-devotees, or that association which is not beneficial for his advancement in Krishna consciousness. Satovrite, and he's enthusiastically following the previous acharyas. Sadbir bhakti prasidati. Such a person can become successful without a doubt in their devotional endeavors. So unless you have enthusiasm, you're dead, Prabhupada says. You're spiritually dead. So before we can even gain enthusiasm, which sometimes it comes in different ways, but Prabhupada actually also in the purport to that verse, which is the Nectar of Instruction, verse in the Nectar of Instruction, verse 3. In the purport of that verse, Prabhupada says enthusiasm means endeavoring with intelligence to serve Guru Krishna. Something like that, endeavoring with intelligence. So enthusiasm comes from our intelligence. So what is our intelligence? Our intelligence is that knowledge by which we can understand what choices to make via our mind. The mind is presenting this and that, and the intelligence is thinking, no, I don't want that. I'm going to formulate a plan as to how to become Krishna conscious. The intelligence is, do we actually understand the spiritual reality of not being this body, of Krishna as the absolute truth? Do we understand these things? Can we actually make progress? So what is the first, essence of intelligence? One begins to understand spiritual knowledge, which starts with Dehinosmin yata dehe komaram yovaram jara tata dehantara praptir diras tatra nimuyati. The living entities in this material world are continuously changing bodies from boyhood to youth to old age. We take another body at the time of death. And a sober person is not disturbed by such change. This is the beginning of intelligence. I'm not this body. I'm the spirit soul within the body. So now that I've understood that, I am the spirit soul within the body, what is my next endeavor? What is my next move? I have to learn how to act like a spirit soul. I have to understand what are spiritual activities. And I have to, with my intelligence, use that. But because of sense gratification, your intelligence is bewildered. Our intelligence is bewildered. Because Bogashvarya Prashaktanam Te Purita Chetasam Vivasyatmika Buddhi Samudal Navadiyate. In the minds of those who are too attached to material opulence and sense enjoyment and are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination to perform devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. So why are you not determined to serve Krishna? Because of your sense gratification. When I say you, I'm just talking about the general materialist, not the devotees. Because you're attached to sense gratification. And it's taking all your intelligence, it's taking all your potency to actually seriously do something with your life that's successful, to become a pure devotee. You can't engage in Krishna consciousness because I'm too attached to sense gratification. So we have to become detached from sense gratification by using our intelligence, realizing that it's futile. Why are you wasting time? Time is Krishna's energy. Krishna says, I am time. So why are we wasting time when we can be using that time to serve Krishna? We can be using that time to engage in devotional service. We're not surrendering. And so what's the question of seeing this form of Krishna, this beautiful form, when we don't really want to see it? This is the point. If we actually wanted to see it, then on 1 minute, we can see it. But our determination is zapped. Krishna's Prabhupada speaking here, that this is actually a verse alluding to the gopis. But what did the gopis give up? Everything. They committed complete social suicide to see Krishna. They left their babies, they left their husbands, they left their families, they left everything. They were completely rejected people. Because why? Because they wanted to see Krishna. They ran to see Krishna. In other words, they rejected everything to see Krishna. So, the gopis, Krishna says, Yeyetam mam prapadyante tam tataiva bhajamyaham. As they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. So the gopis were surrendered to Krishna. They surrendered to this desire to see Krishna. So you don't have the desire to see Krishna. Okay. What does Krishna say? He says, just follow the rules and regulations of bhakti yoga and develop a desire to attain me. So just follow the rules and regulations of bhakti yoga. What does that mean? That means rising early, chanting japa, taking Krishna prasadam, worshiping the deity, serving the Vaishnavas, serving with enthusiasm. And in that way, you'll develop a desire to attain Krishna. But you can't poke a hole in your ship and think that, oh, I'm going to be spiritual. Because what will save you at the time of death? All your mental speculation really cannot save you at the time of death. All of our various things we put together by our gyan, it won't save us. No. Only love will save you. Only love of Krishna will save you. So therefore, we can think, oh yes, we're learning so many things. We can study the Shastras very intensely. We can hear many classes, get our Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Vedanta. But actually, Harinama, Harinama, Harinama eva kevalam kalo nasteva, nasteva, nasteva gatiranyataha. The holy name is the only way. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. So what's the point? You learned so many things, but you didn't develop taste for hearing and chanting, serving the Vaishnavas. So if you want to see Krishna, you have to do those things that are necessary for you to develop taste in hearing and chanting. There's one little short clip I love. I hear it at least once a year. It pops up and I'm like, oh, I got to hear this. It's of His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj speaking about how he guarantees you'll go back to Godhead in this life if you can chant your rounds before Mangal Artik. Because in that way, you really develop a taste for chanting. You can actually seriously taste the chanting. And he says that when you sit down to chant, it should be like having a samosa in front of you. There's great taste in the chanting of the holy name. Now, I wouldn't say I have taste, but I certainly like my japa. It is definitely the high point of my day. Every day is my japa and my puja. Those two things are the pinnacles of my day. And as long as those go good, then I don't think that there's anything that can possibly take me away from having a good day. Because I've already worshipped Krishna and I feel Krishna's presence in the holy name. So we will see Krishna if you just surrender. Krishna gives us a process to see him. But we have to engage in the process correctly. And this is the thing, people just want some, they don't want all. And it goes down to all these things. When we have a whole package, really, one who reads the Srimad Bhagavatam, you become liberated by reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, but geez, I don't want to read the Srimad Bhagavatam. I'll read every other book, but not the Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhu, have you heard this Acharya and that Acharya? But Prabhu, have you read the Srimad Bhagavatam? No. Read Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada gives us everything we need. All there. So if we want to see Krishna, we require surrender. Otherwise, mogashya moga karmano moga jnana vachetasaha rakshashim asarim chaiva mohinim prakritim shritaha. That it's mogashya, as Diro quoted this verse yesterday, that your hopes for liberation, your fruitive activities, your mental speculation, they're all mogashya, they're all finished, they're all useless. It's useless because you're taking shelter of rakshashim asarim jaiva, atheistic views, demoniac views, instead of taking shelter of the real thing. When you take shelter of the real thing, you get a real spiritual life. Real spiritual life means you develop opposition to sense gratification. This is actually the symptom of someone advancing, is one becomes more and more progressively detached from sense gratification. But even more than that, they become more and more attached to serving Krishna. They become very attached to the devotees. They become very attached to chanting Hare Krishna. They become very attached to always doing service, just like Parameshwar Das Prabhu. He comes here and he's so attached to distributing Srila Prabhupada's books that, he becomes very upset at himself if he doesn't go out on a Monday, it's like, I took a Monday off, But he's distributed almost 1 million books. He's living, right now as we speak, he's at Mount Rushmore, living off granola and working, long hours just distributing Prabhupada's books. He's very, very attached. He's a good example of someone who's very, very attached to his service. Krishna says one should never be attached to not doing their duty. If you're attached to not doing your duty, you're in Maya. So the devotee is willing to do all his service and more. Because the devotee is not thinking of devotional service like a career. Sometimes people think that, like we get like, oh, my career in devotional service. It's like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to take Vanaprast and take sannyas and, the whole, or you make your plan. It's a material plan, But actually, the devotee just simply wants to see that Lord Chaitanya's mission is moving forward. And so he's willing to do whatever it takes. If no one helps him, then he'll do it himself. Like Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, he came alone with nothing. And he started his, Sunday Love Feast. And he was doing his Sunday Love Feast, and he's saying, all these hippies were coming and taking, Prabhupada is cooking them a whole feast. Can you imagine taking a feast cooked by Srila Prabhupada? There was, I think, Govinda Dasi, or one of the, no, it was Yamuna. She says that, these devotees were taking 25 chapatis. That's physically impossible. I guess it's not after seeing Gauranga the other night, but at that one program. But, taking this many chapatis. So it's tasting Srila Prabhupada's delicious prasadam. And, then they'd leave the whole thing and Prabhupada would clean. Prabhupada would go out actually and distribute his own books. Prabhupada would walk in the cold New York streets and he would go to the various stores that he was having his books sold at. And he would ask, how are the book sales going? And he even cared for the people working at the stores because they were his book distributors. They were doing some service. So the devotee's not thinking like this. He's just going to do whatever makes Lord Chaitanya happy. Because he wants to see Krishna. And he'll do it with enthusiasm. Because our service, our japa, our association of devotees, Mahaprasadam, these things should be relished. Because why? Because if we want to see Krishna, then this is how Krishna is presenting himself. This is the road to see Krishna. So they're coming to us and we should engage, endeavor to do that. So how do we see? Krishna says, Satatam kirtayantamam yatantash dridra. With dridra vrata means unbreakable determination, with a vow that I'm going to serve you no matter what happens, under all circumstances, in all places, under all times. Don't let me forget you. Let me serve you. Let me become very attached to you. So in this way, we can come to this seeing Krishna point. We have to develop some taste, and that taste gives us impetus to go further. Just like Narada Muni. Narada Muni, he was a young boy, son of a maidservant, serving the great Bhaktivedantas, the great sages, and he took their remnants. And so then his mom died due to a snake bite. And so what did he do? He didn't cry. He just took shelter of the Lord. And as a little kid, he just started wandering the countryside, wandering through the forest, the woods, the cities, just taking shelter of Krishna. And so one day he sat down to meditate, and then in his meditation, the Lord appeared to him there. He became filled with tears. His mind became overwhelmed with love, and the tears flowed down his eyes. And then Krishna disappeared. And then Krishna said to him, you're not going to see me again in this life. But after that happened, what did Narada Muni do? He became even more attached to serving Krishna. If we understood the reality, the gravity of our situation, it's like running a race. You run the marathon, and then, the finish line is like right there, and you're just like, all right, I'm gonna sit down now. Just sit down at the finish line. We're at the finish line, folks. We've met the devotees. We have the mercy of Prabhupada. We're in Lord Chaitanya's golden age. Everything is there for a beautiful life, but we don't want to take it. We don't want to see Krishna. What's the price? Not you, you know. What's the price for seeing Krishna? There's a verse. What is the actual price if one wants to really see the Lord?
Surrender.
That comes along with it. Lolium, intense greed. You have to have intense greed to get the mercy, intense greed to see Krishna. We must be greedy for Krishna, but we can't until we surrender. We can't become greedy because we were talking yesterday, we ultimately want to use Krishna for our own mission. Until we come to the point of wanting to serve Krishna, we want to use Krishna. We want to use the Krishna consciousness movement. We want to use, the benefits we get from being a devotee to somehow or another make my life comfortable. If we're just attached to comfort, then, okay, Krishna may give you that, but why should he reveal himself to you? Was Prabhupada attached to comfort? Prabhupada wasn't attached to comfort. Prabhupada was attached to Krishna. One of the beautiful things about Srila Prabhupada is Prabhupada's always talking about Krishna. So loving and personal. The way he talks about Krishna. I was hearing this morning how Prabhupada was installing Radha Parasishwara. And then there's a picture that was taken of Prabhupada doing the artik for Radha Parasishwara, installing the deities. And then it was printed in Back to Godhead, and Prabhupada saw that Back to Godhead, and Prabhupada, so sweet, Prabhupada, he says, see, I am looking at Krishna, and Krishna is looking at me.
Is that postcard?
No, that's right. Let's go Krishna Balaram. Anyhow, I am looking at Krishna, and Krishna is looking at me. And Prabhupada always loved Krishna. He was always in love with Krishna. So we have to develop attachment for Krishna. And we have to purify our senses. What's that verse? Ata Shri Krishna Namadi Nabhaved Graham Indriyai Sevam Mukhe Jivadao Swayameva Swarat Yadaha. That you can understand Krishna by your six senses. Ata Shri Krishna Namadi Nabhaved Graham Indriyai. You can't understand Krishna by the Indriyas. But Sevam Mukhe Jivadao, by rendering seva with the tongue. Swayameva Swarat Yadaha, Krishna is revealed. By chanting Hare Krishna and taking Krishna Prasad. But we don't really have enough desire yet. We're not cultivating that desire. We're cultivating other desires. If we cultivate bhakti alongside other things, the bhakti grows some. The bhakti's not growing enough though. But when we really just focus our energy on the bhakti creeper and we water that creeper with hearing and chanting, you develop enthusiasm, you develop taste, you develop determination. And you can become peaceful. You want peace in your heart and mind, then become a bhakti yogi. Because then, once you become really determined to make Krishna the goal of your life, what can possibly disturb you? Nothing. Because whatever happens, it's not going to stop you. That's the type of determination we have to have, that there is nothing that's going to stop me from hearing and chanting, except if Krishna wants to bewilder me. That's the only thing that can stop me, is if Krishna decides, I don't want you, man. And if that's the case, we say, well, if that's what you want, my dear one, then that's it. If that's what I deserve, that's what I deserve. I'm yours unconditionally. I'm always going to be yours. Whether I'm successful or unsuccessful in any of my endeavors, I still remain your servant. You're my dearly beloved Krishna. So we have to get the Lord's glance upon his devotees. We have to achieve that glance. We achieve that glance by pleasing Krishna. We have to learn how to actually please him. And it's like, well, in one sense, it's really easy to please Krishna, right? Because Krishna liberated Putana. But we can't just depend on Krishna's mercy. We should always depend on Krishna's mercy in one sense, but we can't think that, oh, Krishna's mercy is just going to save me and I don't have to endeavor. That's the opposite of the right mood. We should always think, yeah, Krishna's mercy will be there, but I'm not going to give up my endeavor. We have to continue with our endeavors to serve. We actually have to put the effort in to make Krishna happy. We can't just, not do pure devotional service. We have to do pure devotional service. Shuddha bhakti. Learn it, do it. Make it a reality for yourself. Have faith in the process that I really want to know you. It's George Harrison. I really want to know you. I really want to go with you. I really want to see you. But it takes so long. But it doesn't have to take so long. You can make rapid spiritual advancement if you go forward. And you just hear the devotees, like the devotees have been through so many things. It just like a great example, So there's people are attached to their mental speculations and their experiences and all these things like that. But like, look at someone like Radhanath Swami. Who can possibly compare to the experiences he's been through, the mystical people he's met, the level of spiritual personalities he's actually associated with before he met Prabhupada. Yet still, at the end of it all, the end of the road, surrendering to Krishna. There's so many devotees who've been through amazing, intense mystics before they were devotees. The 4 Kumaras, they were born liberated, brahmacharis. They had all mystic perfections from birth. They took darshan of Lord Brahma seconds after their birth. And we become caught in our mental stuff, instead of just surrendering. Krishna said with the Kumaras, Tasya Ravinda Nayanasya Para Ravinda Kinjal Kamisha Talasi Makaranda Vayu Antargata Swabhavarena Chakarate Sham Shankshobha Makshara Jusam Apichata Tanvo. It's simply by smelling the tulsi leaves offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, they experienced a change in heart. Even though they were staunch impersonalists, their hearts changed because they smelled the tulsi leaves offered to the feet of the Lord. So it's the end of the game to surrender to Krishna and become Krishna's devotee. It's the end of the game. Because we're looking for, ultimately we're still seeking sense gratification until that point. Once we just seek Krishna's sense gratification, and once we make that endeavor with determination, and we really, really make ourselves available to the mercy of the devotees, then we can become successful. That's another thing, that you have to become available to the mercy of the devotees. That mercy is all there, actually. There's so much mercy. Krishna's drowning us in love and mercy. It's just unbelievable how much love and mercy he's drowning every single one of us with, but we don't have the heart to contain it most of the time. We're not ready to accept the mercy. It is there, but we don't want to accept it. Because we don't want to throw ourselves at the feet of the Vaishnavas and beg their mercy, beg their blessings. We want to be called Maharaj. We don't want that, most people, it's like, it's a fault, it's a stepping stone or stumbling block in devotional service, that we make some progress and we become attached to our service and to being a leader, to being someone or something. But actually, you know, that's also false. Real taste is just in hearing and chanting. When you really have taste for hearing and chanting, that's what we need to develop. That's what we need to do to see Krishna. So it's not so easy. We certainly can't develop that taste on our own. We have to beg Krishna for taste. We have to approach Krishna with a humble heart and a humble mind and ask him, please help me to have taste in the holy name. Please help me to have taste in serving the Vaishnavas. Please help me to have taste in my service. Please help me with my service. I'll put in the best attitude, because real humility means I'm going to do my service with, you know, Prabhupada said that once. Real humility means doing your service. We can act all, you know, humble. We can act like that, you know, but, you know, real fallen, you know, real. But if, you know, yeah, you act like that, but where's your service? Was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta like that? Where he would grab the impersonalist by the neck? That's not very humble, Prabhu. When he would, you rascal, thinking God is not a person, and they would run from him because Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was so powerful. Was he humble? He's the most humble servant of God. He's the ray of Vishnu. Yet he was humbly cutting apart the Mayavadis. So that was his service. He did it well, better than anybody. So, yeah, it requires that. And ultimately, that's the ultimate end goal qualification for really seeing Krishna. That's the verse we should wear around our neck. Trinada peace nichena, taro eva sahishnuna, amanena madanena kirtaniya sadahari. That we should chant the holy name in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street, becoming more tolerant than a tree, offering all respects to others and not expecting respect for oneself. In that state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. That's what we should be cultivating. And then we can see Krishna. By chanting the holy name of the Lord, there's a process. First, the holy name becomes manifest, and then Krishna's form becomes manifest, and then Krishna's pastimes become manifest, and then Krishna manifests outside. It's written in the Harinam, in the Shastras. Yeah, it's explained. So it's not artificial. You just chant Hare Krishna, all this will happen. But that's for a high-level person. First, we got to be humble and tolerant. Any questions or comments? Lalita Devi.
So my question is a little bit mundane, but they were talking about in the verse it talks about the Stuba pearl on his chest.
Same question I had.
And in other descriptions, it didn't seem to be describing a pearl.
Mm-hmm.
So is there two?
No. He says Kashtubha Mani in Sanskrit. Kashtubha Mani. Mani means gem or pearl or diamond. The Kashtubha Mani. So Prabhupada just translated it as pearl in this case.
Okay, because I think I remember doing a little bit of research about the Kashtubha gem like a while back, because there's one of the necklaces that we have for Gauri Tai that I would always, in my mind, be like, this is the Kashtubha jewel. And then I did some research on it, and I think I read that it was red, and so I don't know, that's why I was just confused. Okay.
I also studied into it because a jeweler, I looked into it as well, and I read that it was a bluish in hue and had a relief carve of a calf was on it, and that's where the souls that don't go directly to serve him go into that gem somehow during the dissolution of reality. So I was confused also on it being called pearl, but this is the same question I was going to ask. What do you know of the Kaustubha gem? Please teach us everything you know of the Kaustubha gem.
I think you're right. I think it was. I read that it was blue because we have two necklaces that are identical. And I knew it was one of them, and one's red and one's blue.
I've
So
also heard this being red, so it's a great perplexing.
yeah.
Actually, it can be both.
Yeah.
There are gems that.
Yeah, like
they
Alexandrite.
shift, yeah, between two.
Anything else? One more? You got a question?
I have another question. So, where's the, balance in terms of preaching that we should reach? Because, you're talking about the gopis, they gave up everything, their babies, their husbands, their families, in order to go be with Krishna. And, if we, tell people, they should abandon their babies and their husbands and their families to serve Krishna, I don't think we'd be received very well. So what is that?
Well, they were being asked to do that, but we just do whatever we're asked.
What's that?
We just do whatever we're asked by Krishna to do. Krishna's not necessarily asking everybody. He didn't ask Arjuna to do that. He asked Arjuna to kill his grandpa.
Yeah.
Krishna may ask you to do some hard stuff, but the devotee's always going to do it. Krishna's asking us to chant 16 rounds enthusiastically and attend the programs and to read his books, and very simple. But anyways, we just have to do what Krishna's asking of us. That's surrender. Just do what Krishna asks. If Krishna at some point, he may, do that. He may take everything. Okay, that's what you want, my dear one. That's what I'll do. But we have to do what we're asked.
Yeah.
But we should always remain with the consciousness that everything belongs to Krishna. Ishavasyamidam sarvam yat kincha jagatam jagya. Tena tyak tena bunjitaha magurya kasya svidhanam. Everything is owned and controlled by the Lord. Therefore, everything should be used in his service. And we each get our quota. And we shouldn't take more than our quota because we know it belongs to the Lord. So, okay, Grantaraj from the Bhagavatam ki Indira Ekadasi, heavy mood because I didn't prepare.
There's one